Hello folks, welcome to another video. Get my water. Keep yourself hydrated. Yeah, temperatures of course is surprisingly fall-like. Although here in Texas are normal. September temperatures are like in the 90s, but we've been in like the mid 80s. There we go. Alright, so today, while I'm yakking, I will be smoking Java Red. Take the foot band off. Really, really nice aroma. Of course, I use an 11mm punch, so let's see how well that is. Yeah, with punching cigars, box press are really what we're good at. Flip it around. Yeah, and just like everybody, Drew Estate also sweetens the head of the cigar, which I'm not really a fan of, but of course a lot of guys who do smoke flavored cigars will smoke it after dinner, like what I'm doing. But of course, yeah, this is a really smooth draw. But of course, I normally drink like a some sort of a soda, energy drink, or a diet soda on the side, which is more than sweet enough. So yes, in the news, unless you've been living under a rock, you know that Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away this Friday. This is a Sunday evening smoke, and liberal heads are already exploding. It's only been like, what, 2 days, or actually a day, I guess, day and a half, and liberals are already threatening to burn the country down if Trump and the Republicans nominate a replacement Scottish judge for the vacancy. And yes, there are videos of liberals literally losing their heads on Twitter and Facebook. It's a really good cigar. It's a perfect size, nice draw, nice thick billowy smoke, fantastic aroma. Of course, it's sweetened, so all I'm tasting right now is sweetness. There's really no bitterness, so I would say this is a mild cigar. Now, of course, feminists can kind of breathe a little easy since Trump is nominating a woman for the replacement. Yeah, and that's the one thing I don't agree with is all of this. It's got to be a woman thing. You know, the Democrats, for the VP, it's got to be a woman. Actually, they bumped it up a few notches. Not only does it got to be a woman, it's got to be a black woman. So here's Trump, nominating a Supreme Court justice replacement, and it's got to be a woman. And yeah, so feminists, you can kind of breathe easy, take a deep breath, exhale. Trump is nominating a woman, a female, and guarantee you she will not vote against Roe versus Wade. Now there may be some some things tacked on top or some things removed, but it will not be, as long as a woman is nominated, it will not, Roe versus Wade will not be defeated. Good cigar, man. Yeah, so basically during Obama's administration, and I remember that in the news too, that he recommended that Ruth Ginsburg go ahead and retire, because yes, as a Supreme Court judge, you can retire. But because I guess she's stubborn, and because had she retired, Obama could have nominated a replacement for her, but she decided not to for some reason. Not to mention all of the was it 87 federal judge seat that Trump has filled. I guess Obama was really busy with his Obamacare, and nobody on his cabinet tapped him on the shoulders like, hey man, you need to fill some of these federal judge seat. But of course their thinking at the time was that, hey, Hillary's got it next. I ain't got to worry. Hillary's got it next, and that's probably also their thinking too. Is like, okay, well, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, if you want to stay on the on the bench, that's okay. We're cool with it. If your illness gets worse, because she was ill back then. And yes, they will mark her down as instead of dead from cancer, dead from COVID-19. That was a good dinner. So her health has been ailing for a very long time, but I guess since you sit, or I don't even know how many. I don't think the Supreme Court judges work a 9-to-5 shift. I'm pretty sure it is a stressful job mentally, but physically it's probably not stressful. Definitely, stressful mentally. So whoever Trump nominates, and again, it's probably a woman. Hopefully, she is a constitutional judge from a lower court. And that's what, because the two female names that came up, both of them are judges from a lower court. So so we'll see. This is a really nice cigar. I need to jump online and order some more, because yeah, the Java Maduro is a little bit too strong. This one's actually a mild cigar, so it's not you could have a salad for dinner, if the doctor puts you on a diet, because I guess we'll get off subject real quick. Of course, vegans. And of course, you got the meat eaters too, saying, hey man, a meat-only diet is more healthy. It'll help you lose weight. And then you got the vegans who are, or the vegetarians. I'm not even calling them vegan. Vegetarians who are, hey, a vegetable-only diet is more healthy. It'll help you lose weight. Now, the reason doctors tell you to go on a vegetarian diet to lose weight, because you're too heavy, or you got some sort of you need to lose some weight for heart problems or diabetes, and the doctor will put you on a vegetarian, not a vegan, but a vegetarian diet where you can still eat like lean meat, fish, chicken breasts, no skin, and what I tell people is, well, the reason the doctors put you on a vegetarian diet is because vegetables, yes, vegetables have nutrition, but vegetables alone are not enough to sustain a person. Hence, why you lose weight. If you stay on that vegetable diet, and you stay on the portions that the doctor or the dietitian suggest, you're going to keep losing weight. And because when you lose weight, and then the dietitian or the doctor takes you off the vegetarian diet and have you eat more, more sustaining food, add pork and beef, other parts of the chicken, besides the breast. At that point, is to help you maintain that weight that you've gotten down to. Because if you continue eating, wheatgrass, soy, then yeah, your health will get worse. You'll keep losing weight, and you will deteriorate, and that's going to be the opposite effect. So yeah, so people are speaking of weight loss. They're saying that she lost, I guess her what 2 3 years cancer battle, the stage 4, because they're saying she had cancer. They're saying that she had cancer years before. It's just that now it's reached stage 4, and stage 4 is normally, with any sickness, stage 4 is terminal. If not terminal, it means you're going to be on medication the rest of your life. You're going to have to depend on a machine to keep you alive, or in some cases, it's going to shorten your life. And at 87, I don't know about shortening your life. And she lost like I don't know if it's true, because I don't know how much weight or how fat she was before, but they're saying that she lost like a foot, or I guess in your waist measurement. That's a lot. And I think about it, if you lose, it's about I think an inch for every 10 to 20 pounds. It's about half an inch to an inch for every 10 to 20 pounds that you lose. So that meant that she lost 100 plus pounds. And yes, I've known friends and relatives, and have a cousin who's not a, I'm trying to think of it. It's not oncologist. That's the old. That's the thing, or is it? That's the old person doctor. Damn it. Basically, he's a cancer doctor and makes really, really, really good money. But yes, but if you ever seen anyone or know anyone who is fighting cancer, especially stage 4, where they're where they're pumping you the patient up with all sorts of chemicals, chemo and other things, and you can see the person deteriorating. They literally turn into a skeleton before they pass away. So when people said that she looked, she lost about a 12 inches of her waist, I was like, yeah, I believe that. So I'll go ahead and say, rip, rest in peace. Not a fan of the old lady, not a fan of Ruth Gator Ginsburg. Liberals, on the other hand, love this lady for some reason. Every time I hear her name, I think of that episode of Family Guy where it was the dog, what's his name, Brian, Chris, and Meg. They all, I guess in that particular segment, they were spurting out things, but it was like they were like on the same channel. And then they spurted out Ruth Gator Ginsburg. Of course, I think this episode was like Family Guy back in the late 90s, I believe. Yeah, Family Guy's been around. See, the late 90s or early 2000s. And I remember watching, I was going, why the heck are they saying Ruth Gator Ginsburg? I knew who she was. I knew that she was the Supreme Court Justice. But I was just kind of scratching my head going, okay, why the heck did they mention her name? Okay, knowing what I know now is that, yes, liberals love that old lady. Of course, back then, she's still old. Yeah, back then she's still old, like in her 60s, so that's still old. So so next week, this is Sunday. They're saying that Tuesday is when Trump will make his announcement, and of course the Senate, which is Republican controlled. So Trump make his announcement of who he wants. Then the nominee goes to the Senate, who then votes on yay or nay. And of course, being it's Republican controlled, unless the Democrats get get their hand on some never Trumpers, in the Senate or some rhinos in the Senate, or they get their grubby hands on enough rhinos and never Trumpers in the Senate, I don't see this not passing. In a way, I'm kind of glad that Trump is nominating a woman, because then we ain't got to worry about all of these women coming out of the woodwork. So I've never met that woman. I don't know why she's, me tooing me, but I never met her. That, of course, just like Justice Kavanaugh, where they're coming out of the woodwork from 30 years ago. Then, of course, it turns out that they lied. Nothing happened to them. Even the French Congress said, yeah, she's lying. And go ahead and go ahead and swear the justice. And I think Supreme Court justices are sworn in. Anyways, so we'll see come Tuesday when Trump names the nominee. My thing is that they should do what they did to the folks in Pennsylvania. If you're going to be out rioting, because these folks aren't protesting, they're out rioting. If you're going to be out rioting, arrest them and make the bail $1 million. Because $1,000 bills, that was it. The Kamala Harris, Joe Biden's people were bailing all of those folks out. That was in Minneapolis. You got 50 people. You got 50 people, $1,000 bail, and in some case the bills are set somewhere around like $1,000. So if you got 50 people, that's still only $5,000, because you only got to pay 10%. But if you bump it up to $1 million, now you're talking about Now you're talking about 50 people, and who knows? I'm just using 50 people as an example. Now you're going from $5,000 to $5 million, so that's a little bit steeper. Yeah, let's see. Well, of course, Black Lives Matter has like, $1 billion. They're saying they got like 1.2 billion. So if any BLM folks does get arrested, I'm thinking $100,000 bail would be nothing for them. Even if it's for 50 people, $5 million is nothing. If you got 1.2 billion, this is a good cigar. The taste is not bad. The sweetness is still there. But again, you smoke these mainly for the aroma and not really for the taste. Those things like, man, how much would the bail of these people being? Okay, $1,000. So $100 ain't nothing for especially Biden's campaign in August got like 300 million. And everybody's going, okay, how come BLM isn't under investigation for campaign fraud? Because that 300 million came from Black Lives Matter. Because the Amazon will boast things like, oh yeah, in August, Biden campaign got 300 million, beating Trump's campaign. And everybody's going, where did that 300 million come from? Anyways, yeah, so we'll see. We'll see if the liberals are all talk, or I'm pretty sure that they are going to come out. Of course, you got Antifa, Black Lives Matters. Those guys will definitely come out and riot and burn. All over Twitter and Facebook, the liberals are posting, and none of their posts are being taken down, by the way. A lot of them are being taken down after the person posted, and then think twice about it. They're all posting. If Trump nominates a replacement justice, before the election, we're going to burn this. We're going to burn this place down. This place being the United States, and all these posts are all over Twitter, all over Facebook. None of them are being banned or taken down. Like I said, those are being taken down by the posters. who of course is going, oh shit, you know, this might get me in trouble. I'm going to delete this post. So, okay, so I'll skip off of politics. So recently, I finally got around, and I'll see about getting the video edited and uploaded. So I finally got around to doing some maintenance on my motorcycle. So I had to first order the parts. I replaced the primary cover gasket. This would be the third time. The first two times I had the shop do it, and this time since my motorcycle is a Victory. Since Victory is you know, there is no more. Of course, I could take it to an Indian I guess dealership or for service shop, but technically there is no more Victory service shop or dealership. Now the site that I order from is called Witch Doctor. Yes, it's both the way it sounds, witchdoctor.com, and I've ordered from them for years. So I did that, and I also replaced the rear brake disc. I know you're supposed to do both, but at $250 each, I just did the back because it's my fault. You know, I let the brake wear down so much that it went to the metal, and of course it gouged grooves, deep grooves all over the disc. The front is okay. There is, of course, you know, there is grooves. Every brake disc is going to have grooves in it, regardless of how often you change your pads. Whoop, this fell off. There's a nice little cherry at the end. So this took like a whole week to do. So parts finally came in. Went to the garage. Of course, I have a Harbor Freight floor jack for a motorcycle, which I've had for like 10 years. And this time I went to stuck it underneath the bike, pressed on the foot pedal. Yeah, it's the foot pedal kind that has the they call them can jacks. It's basically a hydraulic jack. And of course, it would go up, but once it hits the bike and there's some load on it, you know, I kept pumping. I was like, okay, man, my jack is jacked. And so jumped online. A lot of people were saying, well, the gasket or the rings on the canister jack went out. You can easily replace these canister jack. You can order them off Amazon and such, which I should have done, but you know, I sold that off for like $50 somebody, and they're like, yeah, man, I'll stick a canister jack on here for $50, and of course he's going to spend $50, so out of pocket for him would be like $100. And of course the original price was like $179, of course 10 years ago. And of course Harbor Freight, every now and then they run a sale, and they had it for like with the coupon, you know, with the coupon I got it for like 120. The thing is heavy, man. It's like 75 pounds, 77 pounds. It has wheels on it, but it's not something that you want to lift up and lug around your garage. You want to drag it along the floor. But even dragging it along the floor, you can feel that you can feel the 75 pounds of the jack. And so the replacement one I got was around the same price, $179, and I got the aluminum because the iron one, which is the one with the foot pad with the foot pump, they had those for like $99, and the one thing I bought that first. So I guess actually I jumped on. So after that, I jumped on Amazon and ordered the I think they call it the X type, or not X. it's basically kind of that you twist, and there's like a big old long screw that that you twist, and it raises the twist type jack, I guess what I'll call it. So waited, you know, so that jack finally came in, stuck it underneath the bike. Since it is a new jack and it's untested, I put some safety blocks underneath my bike. So jacked the bike up, took the cover off, and I knew that the gasket. I was crossing my finger and praying that the gasket wasn't burnt on, but it was burnt on. So I took the primary cover off. Taking the cover off is easy. Putting it back on was a little bit difficult. The hardest part, it took me 2 days of battling the burnt on gasket to finally get it all cleaned off. And of course, I know like I said, one thing I do like about YouTube is all of the DIYs, all of the DIY video that's on YouTube, and hopefully they don't ever get rid of those. And yeah, I do have the service manual for my Victory motorcycle. I read it about 10 times. Jumped on YouTube, look at all the videos. There's not a whole lot of Victory videos, by the way, especially ones pertaining to the primary cover. Most of them just shows the guy, removing the primary cover. There's one where the guy removed the primary cover and he went into detail on how to put it back in. Most of the guys just show removing it, taking all the screws off, removing it, doing what they got to do. Replacing the gasket. Yes, if you're going to take the primary cover off, you got to replace the gasket. Replace the gasket, put the primary cover back on. But there was one video where the guy, I forgot. I was going to give his channel a shout out, but I guess I don't need to shout him out because his channel is way bigger than mine. But he showed detailed steps in putting the primary cover back on. And there is one step where you have to take the shifter rod off of the primary cover, stick it back onto the transmission first, then put the primary cover on. Because I wasn't doing that, and I was trying to put the primary cover on. It's like, what the hell, man? It's going in here. The top part was going in, but the bottom part wasn't going in, because that's where the shifter is. So I ran into his video, and I gave him a response, say, thank you very much. But yeah, it took 2 days. I had some Goo Gone. Goo Gone will not work on burnt on gasket. So I went out and purchased some acetone, which I don't have any acetone in the house. My wife has fingernail remover, which is basically a acetone. It's actually a lesser. It's actually I guess a lesser potency acetone, but if you just buy like the acetone in a tin can, that's the full strength. But I also went ahead and bought a product called Goof Off. I bought the paint remover, and then I bought the graffiti remover. And I recommend the graffiti remover because that one's actually a gel. And since I'm working on a vertical surface, putting the regular Goof Off paint remover is liquid. In my opinion, I think it's just acetone, and they just rebrand it as a paint remover. And because it smells just like acetone, and those same smell. The fingernail polish remover are super strong smelling. So first I tried acetone. Acetone wasn't really working. I tried the Goof Off paint remover. So I ran back to the store. So let me try that graffiti remover. And it's a gel, so gel actually stuck on to the. So basically what you're doing, or what I was doing, is I tore off pieces that I could by hand. Then I busted out the paint scraper and carefully scraped off because it is an aluminum block, and if you go too hard, you can chip off a big chunk, and then you're kind of screwed. You at that point you're gonna have to use call it a gasket maker, which is like a sealant. So that spot that you scraped off a big chunk of metal, you have to put some sort of a gasket sealer on that spot if you put the gasket on, for it to seal properly. So you're not completely screwed if you do that. But luckily, I went slow and scraped off as much burnt on gasket as I could. Put the goof off graffiti remover on, and again, what it does is what you're doing is you're melting off layer layer after layer of burnt on gasket. It's like a paper thin layer. You put it on there. What I normally do is put one application on. Give it about a minute for it to kind of dry up. Put the second application. Wait a minute. Third application. Wait a minute. Then I wait about 5 minutes. Then with the paint, well, not paint, but the scraper, the sticker scraper. Scrape off a like a paper thin layer of and yes, and just say this took me 2 days, because after a while you just have to give up. So okay, man, I can't stand the fumes. Can't stand the fume. I'll come back tomorrow and finish it off. And that's what I did. Is after about 2 or 3 hours, I was getting a headache from the fumes. Yes, the garage door was open, but I should have bought a fan out to blow the fume out of the garage. I might have been able to finish it in 1 day. So next day came around, went out, and of course before I stopped, I put a whole bunch of application of the goof off on there. So next day I came, started scraping, say, hey, a whole lot more were coming off. And yeah, and if you ever worked, yeah, and of course I've worked on mainly taking off head gaskets. Mainly taking off head gaskets. A lot of time it will also be burnt on, especially if you have an older car, because if you have a newer car, you wouldn't have to deal with head gaskets. And of course this gasket's been on my motorcycle for about 7 years. So I would have been surprised if it wasn't burnt on, basically. So got it off, used 2000 grit. I thought about doing a how-to, but I was like, man, I'm too tired. My channel's not a motorcycle DIY channel. So I figured I'll sit down and just kind of go over what I did. So after I got all of the burnt on gasket off, got a 2000 grit sandpaper, and just went over it about 2 or 3 times around the gasket area, and kind of wiped it down with water a little bit. Of course, dry it off. Put the gasket on, put the cover back on. And of course, it helps to have the proper tools, to do maintenance on your motorcycle and on your car. So the question's got to be for Harbor Freight. Everything in Harbor Freight is made in freaking China. I think one of their brand, or I guess the Harbor Freight brand, is Pittsburgh. So while I was there, I decided to buy a half-inch socket, and I bought 2. One was the kind of extended out to like 2 feet. Yeah, 2 feet. So I knew I was going to need it to break to break loose the lug nut on the rear wheel, and I'll do I found a trick of getting the axle out of the rear wheel without hammering or banging on the axle to get it out. I believe if your motorcycle is the I think 2008 on up, you can remove the axle through the left side without having to go through the right side, which is where the exhaust is. So I was like, whew, thank goodness, man. I don't have to worry about messing with the exhaust. Yeah, because the tires do need to be replaced. So when I get around to replacing the tire, I'll do it's basically a 2x4 trick that I use with the pry bar. Yeah, so after that, the next day, like I said, this took me like 5 days, of waiting for stuff to come in the mail, my jack brake. Yeah, so I got the cover back on, and now I'm going to work on the back tire. So at this point, the tire is still on the floor because I don't need to jack it up that high to work on the primary cover. So now I go over and I start cranking to crank the bike up. And next thing you know, I hear this snap. The bike, luckily, I guess the bike gods were looking looking over me that day. The bike fell straight down onto the safety blocks that I had, which is basically a stack of 2x4s. And I looked down, I was like, ah, shit, man, this damn jack from Amazon broke. So of course I gathered it up, stuck it back, and I kept the box that it came in. Stuck it in the box, went online, return. That's one thing I like about Amazon is the return. It's of course you have to repackage. Most items you have to repackage. Some items, I guess, depending on the vendor, a lot of fulfilled by Amazon items, you don't have to worry about repackaging. You just take it to UPS office or whoever, or you can take it to the Amazon store if you have one near your house. So after that, I was like, okay, crap. Now I gotta go down to Harbor Freight, and I bought the same con that I got before, and they had it for like $99. I was like, cool, man, $99. Took it home. You still have to put it together, but it's not a whole lot of. You have to put the canister jack on, screw it down. Let's see here, and a few other things. And as I was, you dumb dog, that's cigar ash. I don't think you want to lick that. Yeah, dumb dog. What do you want, dog? So as I was test jacking it up, it wasn't on the motorcycle. I was test jacking it up, and it's probably a quality control. The bottle jack has for motorcycle jacks anyway. It has a return spring on there that stretches out as the bottle jack gets jacked up. And I heard a loud snap. And I was like, oh shit, what the hell broke? Looking around, and I saw the spring just hanging there. I was like, what the hell? It's like, I kind of looked around, and I saw towards the bottom of the jack. Dog, go inside. Don't step on the ash, you dumb dog. Yep, she stepped on the ash. You dumb dog. Now you can track ash, cigar ash all inside the house. So I had to box that back up. And yeah, did I mention that thing weighs about 75 pounds? Yeah, I can lift 75 pounds, but I prefer not to. So boxed it back up, lifted it up, threw it in the back of the car. I got there. Now they do have a dolly inside that I believe you can borrow, or you can go inside. If it's heavy, you can go inside and ask one of the people inside, hey, can you come outside with the dolly? I wish I should have done, but I wouldn't grab a cart. Took it to the back of my trunk, opened it up, grabbed it, threw it onto the cart. Took it inside, and of course the girl, is it broke? I was like, yeah, it's broke. Now technically, of course, I went on the YouTube again, and guys were saying, yeah, technically you can still use the jack without the tension spring, the return spring. So yeah, so this is going on now. 2 days? It took me 2 days to mess with the gasket. Because after I got the, like I said, after I got the gasket on and tightened up everything on the primary covers, when I tried to jack it up to work on replacing the rear disc brake. So yeah, so back to Harbor Freight. So I go back and look. I was like, okay, what else do these guys got? So I saw the one they got for $179, and there's no coupon for the guy. And I took it up to the cash register. The guy has his little things looking. I was like, sorry man, there's no coupon. Me, hey, cool man. So I paid the difference. So this one is aluminum and only weighs 50 pounds. And yes, 50 pounds is much, much lighter than 75. And this one looks like it's better constructed also. It has a handle, just like a car hydraulic jack. So if this one lasts me 10 years, then yes, I would have gotten my, basically $180 worth. Because the thinking behind Harbor Freight is that it's cheap, so this will only last you a couple of years before you got to replace it. But if you spend an extra 50 or $100 or an extra 200 for a better product that maybe has a lifetime warranty, or at least a 3-year warranty on their product, where if it does break in 3 years, you can you can get it replaced. So yeah, so I could have gone to the auto parts store or Tractor Supply and got a name brand floor jack, which I thought about, but I was like, man, you know what, I ain't got $400, $500, $600 to spend on another jack. So while I was there, I went ahead and got a car floor jack, because a few years back the jack for the car that I bought, which was a name brand, I think it was a Craftsman, and the hydraulic on it was leaking, and I gave it to a buddy. I was like, hey man, if you can fix this. He's like, yeah man, shit, I'll take it off your hands. So yeah, go ahead man. And I really haven't been with a car floor jack for a couple of years, so I was like, okay, while I'm here, I'll go ahead and grab a car jack, and a motorcycle jack. And of course, their jack stand is on a recall, safety recall, by the way. And I guess there's the same, and it's not cheap. It was like $59 for the floor jack, and there's a safety recall on it. Because I asked the guy, I said, hey man, what the heck's all your floor jacks? Or safety jacks? And he's like, oh, there's a safety recall on them. See, right here. They show me a flyer. I was like, oh, okay. Now I've used jack stands, years and years, and never had one, knock on wood, never had one fell on me. But then again, I don't use Harbor Freight jack stands, I guess. I've had Craftsman's, the AutoZone brand, which I think is I forgot. But anyways, I stopped by O'Reilly's, got the Duralast, which is, I think Duralast is I guess it's a pretty reputable brand. Jack stand, because I had some old jack stand. They're in the box somewhere. I couldn't find it, or they're in the box in the shed somewhere. So jacked up the bike. Like I said, I'll show the 2x4 trick of getting the rear axle out of the tire by having to bang all over it. So got the wheel out with the proper jack on there. Got the rear disc brake out, got it back on. Got the wheel back in, got the brakes back on, put the new pads on. Of course, I changed the pads in the front too. Bled the brakes. I'm gonna need to re-bleed the brake, because I think I screwed up on the bleeding of the brakes. And for years I didn't know this, but I'll go ahead and mention it here. For motorcycle brakes, when you take the reservoir off, take the cap off, for the front and the rear, there's a plastic plunger, and I didn't know this until I watched someone's YouTube channel. And what you're supposed to do is when you're changing your pads, you take the cover off, you take that plastic plunger off, and you push the plastic plunger, you push it down to its to its collapsed position. Because what it does is as your brake pads wear down, of course your fluid is going to go down too, and what that does, it sucks the plunger down, and that is of course taking up air volume, keeping I guess air from getting into your brakes. I was like, okay, I was wondering what that is. So all these years of changing brakes, I didn't know if I collapsed it by accident, but I was like, okay, well that's a I'm still a noob, because I'm not a professional. I'm a home DIY garage guy, and I hate taking a motorcycle in because you normally have to drop it off, because they normally don't, unless you schedule it with them, like, hey, next Thursday, noontime, I'm bringing my bike in for you to fix this, and you can schedule it where I say, I need you to fix it because I need to ride it back home. So I got it back in. Problem is, of course, as I got the tire back in, I forgot to put the belt on. So, and of course, on top of that, actually that was the first time. So I took it off, put the tire back on, put the belt on. Was going to tighten things up, then I noticed, like, shit, man. I put the brake disc in backwards. So I have to take it apart again. So this took a whole afternoon, by the way. So I have to take the tire off again, take the brake disc off, and luckily the Loctite has not. And yes, you are supposed to use new bolts, which I didn't. I just soaked them in acetone for like an hour. Took them off, rinsed them off, dried them so that they don't rust. Loctite, took it out, flip it around, because I was looking, I was going, hey, shouldn't the logo be on the outside? I said, damn it, you got it in backwards, dumbass. Yeah, so I have to take the tire out again for the second time, or this would be a third time. Put the disc brake in properly. Yeah, I'm almost done with the cigar. Probably another inch and a half, and I'll call it. I'll put the cigar down, but I'm not getting a buzz or a nicotine hit at all. This is actually a mild cigar. But I am getting cigar chunks in my mouth. I should not be getting it with a punch. Like I say, it's 11mm punch. So this time, got everything back in, got the brake on, got the new pads on, got the belt on, and tightened down the and also read up on aligning your wheel. And the way you're supposed to do is once you get the wheel back on, you're supposed to tighten the nut up until it gets slightly tightened, and back it up two times, and then tighten up the belt, and then you spin the wheel forward. You spin the wheel forward as if the bike is rolling forward. And then what the belt's supposed to do is it's supposed to go over to the left flange. At that point you stop it, and then you spin the wheel backward as if you're rolling the bike backwards. And the belt's supposed to go back over towards the right. Once it gets towards the center, that means your tire is centered. Mine didn't do that. I rolled it forward. The belt went over to the left flange. When I was rolling it backwards, it stayed on the left. So if it stays on the left, what you're supposed to do is tighten the left adjuster screw for your tire. They recommend doing one, a half a turn at a time. Mine took about 2 turns, 1, 2, then I rolled it backwards, and then the belt went over to the right, and I stopped right at the center. And at that point, you tighten down the axle nut to 65 foot-pound, and then you tighten down the adjuster nut to 8 foot-pound. So I recommend, if you don't have one, get a quarter. I had to go buy a 1/4-inch torque wrench because I have a 3/8 and a 1/2 torque wrench, but I didn't have a 1/4-inch, which is used for pretty much anything under 20 pounds and anything under 20 foot-pounds. And yes, and a lot of times they'll come in inch pounds. The smaller wrench will come in inch pounds, and it's very easy to convert inch pounds. Just if it calls for, like, say 120 inch pounds, divided by 12, that's 10 foot-pounds. Same thing to convert foot-pounds to inch pound, you multiply by 12. So it's very simple. Just divide by 12 to get to foot-pounds, multiply by 12 to get to inch pounds. Yeah, so I got that in, put the bike down, cranked it up. I haven't taken it out for a ride yet, but I cranked it up, backed it out of the driveway, and then just rode it back up the driveway, because I don't know, of course, after that you double check all of your fasteners, make sure everything's fastened down. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention, before you do mess with the primary cover, you want to drain your oil. There are a few videos of guys taking off their Victory primary cover where they're saying, you don't need to drain the oil. Unless you want, a quart or 2 quarts of oil on the floor of your garage where you got to clean up. And if your oil is relatively new, just drain it into a container. Once you're done, you can pour it back in. It's not a big deal. Yeah, so I drained mine out. I went ahead and bought new oil. I said, screw it. I was just going to replace it with new oil, new filter. And in my case, I had probably about a cup of oil that still spilled out, or half a cup. Actually, it was half a cup of oil that still spilled out, which of course is a lot easier to clean than 2 quarts of oil. And yes, finally got it fixed. Like I said, have the correct tools. Victories are metric. They are American metrics. American made, but it's metric. So have yourself some metric tools. In my case, my cars are Japanese, or they're Europeans. So I got metric. I've always had metric. Oh, freaking bird flew out of my hat. Yeah, I have a hat on the wall. Now I think over the summertime, the little Tweety bird built a nest in the hat. That's the hat that I use when I'm doing yard work. And one of them just flew out of the hat, which I'll probably leave there. Of course, I'll probably throw it away because it's probably full of bird shit. Of course, the dog came out and I guess the bird got scared, flew off. Anyways, so that's that. And again, like I said, back to Harbor Freight. Since all this stuff is made in China, if Trump gets reelected, which is pretty probable, if Trump gets reelected, of course, one of the things that he plans on signing into law is the no tax breaks, no government assistance for companies that continue to do made in China business. So Harbor Freight, if they continue to do, now I can see Harbor Freight prices going up if they have to come, made in USA. If that's the case, no one's going to buy Harbor Freight. There's a reason people buy Harbor Freight, because it's cheap. You only need it to last 2 to 3 years. And in my case, I got lucky. So my a floor jack from a motorcycle lasted 10 years before the thing gave out. Companies like Harbor Freight, all of these other companies. I guess I'll close it on this. So power tools. I finally, as I was working on my motorcycle, I was like, screw this, man. I'm gonna go and get me some power tools. So I went down to. Of course, the big thing right now are impact wrench. So I went down to Lowe's, went down to Home Depot. Picked up the impact wrench and their drills, and I looked on there specifically looking for the made in China, and they're all made in China. DeWalt is of course made in Mexico, but all the other ones, Milwaukee, yes, made in China. Even though Milwaukee charges you the pro price. Makita, what's the low brand? Craftsman, of course. Now with Craftsman, their hand tools are made in Taiwan. And I keep telling people, hey, Taiwan and China are two different countries. It's kind of like, yeah, they both speak Chinese, but Taiwan is Taiwan. Made in Taiwan is made in Taiwan. Made in Taiwan is not made in China. It's just like the US and UK. Made in the US is not the same as made in the UK. Made in UK is crap, actually. Yeah, I know. At one time, made in the UK was a standard of quality, but as of recently, I don't know what the things that are made in the UK are just crap. So a lot of these, so I went ahead and forked out some money and got some power tool, because I figured, hey, look, when Trump gets reelected and he does put that executive order or that new law into bill, or that bill into law, once he signs that bill into law, what are these companies going to do? Like, of course, DeWalt's made in Mexico, so I guess they're okay. And the thing with DeWalt is, I kind of call them, because everyone knows about DeWalt. Everyone buys DeWalt's when they buy power tools and stuff. I kind of call them the Harley Davidson of power tool. There are people who love them. There are people who hate them, and those who hate them are the folks who have had DeWalt's and they break on them, and something's just not right. And yes, you can jump on YouTube and just type in DeWalt tool breaking, or I don't like DeWalt. Now, of course, the Home Depot brand is Husky. I guess that's their exclusive brand, is Husky. And for years, I've used Ryobi because it's cheap. I have Ryobi drills. Their jigsaw. I don't know what it's called. That saw goes up and down. I think that's a jigsaw. And of course, Lowe's would be Cobalt. and the thing with, and I found, because I was going to go to Sears, which of course they're pretty much out of business. They're at least here in Dallas, there's one store, which is Town East Mall, over in Mesquite. So if you're in Dallas Fort Worth and you're like, man, I don't want to order, through Sears. I don't want to order Craftsman through Sears and pay the shipping. I'd rather just go to the, run down to the. If you're in Dallas, the drive is not too bad. Just be aware that Town East Mall is the. It used to be. I'll go ahead and say it used to be a white mall. Now it's not anymore. So, when I got there, got out of my car, first thing I saw was a bunch of cigarette packs littering the ground. Menthol, yeah, and yes, and menthol packs are the one that's like that aqua green color. At the top is aqua green, the bottom is white. Yeah, that's menthol cigarette. And needles on the ground. I was like, what the? It's like, oh, okay, I'm in Dallas. This is a. Of course, I used to live in Dallas. I don't live anymore. I'm out in the burbs now. And yeah, and I have to tell myself, hey, you're in a liberal ran city, in the not so good side of town. So if you see these things, it's expected. So went inside, did a beeline to their I guess garden and tool section. Grabbed a they had a 108 piece tool set, which if you order online, it is not free shipping. But they had a 108 piece tool set for like $59. I was like, man, I'm gonna drive. I was like, I'm gonna drive over to that last Sears that's in the Dallas area. So I grabbed that, took it to the counter. I also grabbed a 1/2-inch pneumatic drive, wrench. Is it a drive? I think it's a wrench. Anyways, it's for $24. I saw it, hey, $24. 24 bucks for a Craftsman. Now, of course, Craftsman quality has gone downhill, way downhill, from the day that they used to be when they were made in the U.S. And I'll do a video on it too. I bought some. Unfortunately, all of my Craftsman tool are the either made in Taiwan or made in China. But I have these old vintage that I bought 20 years ago, used off of eBay. It's the one. There's still sweetener on this, man. What the hell? Let me touch it up. But basically, it's the pneumatic drivers that's Craftsman, but it's the Pro series, but it's made in Japan, and they still work. 20 years later, of course, I don't use it a whole lot because I don't work in a garage. And yes, I do have a 15-gallon Craftsman air tank, and I have a 6-gallon air tank. And yeah, I do use them to clean out my computer. I do use it to clean out the vacuum. And yes, when you take especially Dyson, now once a month they recommend you wash the filters. And what I'll do is while the filters are drying, I'll take it apart as best as I can, without breaking any gaskets and stuff, and blow it out with the compressed air. And when you do that and use the vacuum, it's like, whoa, this. My wife's like, hey man, this is like a new one. It's like, yeah, it's completely clean. So yeah, so I bought that. So I bought those two. Got the hell out of there before I got stuck by got out of there. Got back home. That's a really good price. I think the regular price was like 150, and they had it down to like a. And of course, before all of the Sears closed down, and I should have gone. The Sears had like a those stores had a going out of business sale, and they were marked down 70%, 80-90% off on a lot of the tools, and a lot of the guys were loading up, going to the Craftsman forum and stuff, and they're like, yeah man, you should have loaded up on Craftsman tool when Sears were having a going out of business sale. Yeah, because at first I drove down to the mall that's close to where I live, where there used to be a Sears. Got there, I was like, oh shit, I forgot. Yeah, Sears went out of business. What the heck? Where am I going to get Craftsman tools now? So Lowe's carry. So basically the Craftsman tool that you get from Sears is like the older ones. If you want the newer line, which is the made in China, you got to go to Lowe's. Lowe's carries Craftsman tools now, and So I went to Lowe's, checked it out. I was like, yeah, you know what? That 108 tool, that 108-bit tool set is uh, you know, it of course it has the SAE and ANSI, which is metric. So that was a plus. Looked at the prices, like, whew, man, it's a good thing I good thing I bought that. So if you still have a Sears near your house, and the one that I went to that's here in Dallas, they had like a whole bunch left. So if you're in Dallas or you're watching this video, you're like, hey man, 108-bit tool set, $59. I think I'll go grab me one. They had a whole bunch that was still on the still on the shelf. They even had a I think a 203 piece set, and that one was, they had it marked for like $109, something like that. That's still cheap for a 200 piece tool set. So yeah, so basically the so I can see, you know, these tool companies, if they have to, you know, if they stay in China, like I said, they're going to lose out on tax breaks. So if they do come to the U.S., I can see tools price. That's why I bought them. I was like, hey man, I'm going to spend a little bit extra money, you know, buy these tools, because the price is going to go up, because if they have to come bring operations to the U.S. or, you know, bring it to Mexico or Canada, you know, more likely they'll probably bring the operations to Canada or Mexico. If they do that, the price should still remain the same. But if they bring it to the U.S., you know, kind of like Snap-on. Snap-on is made in the USA. That's why a Snap-on will cost you, you know, 3 times the price of a of like Husky or Craftsman. I think Ingersoll and Rand is made in the U.S. too. Although Ingersoll and Rand is more of the for the professional, and yes, and theirs will run you about 2 to 3 times the price of a DeWalt. So, you know, so Craftsman, see, Porter Cable, Makita, I think Rigid, to name a few. I spent like a long time at the stores looking at, just like comparing prices and see where they were made in. It's like, okay, you know, I'm gonna go with this brand, because the thing with power tools is that once you buy my suggestion is to buy a kit. That way you get a charger and you get batteries. Normally kits will come with either two drills, either one drill and an impact, or a drill and a cutter or a saw. That way you'll have a charger and you'll have 2 batteries. And then after that, it's cheaper to buy the tool only. If you want, you know, like a hammer drill, it's like, okay, man, I'm gonna be drilling some holes in the wall to attach, I guess hose. Because I had to go down. I think during this summer. So I had to go down. I was like, gosh, because at first, you know, I bought the attachments that goes onto the wall for your water hose, you know, to reel it in, because I was tired of hand wrapping it. So at first I got my regular drill and I was drilling a hose. Like, okay, man, I got it a little bit. Okay, this is not going to work, because this hole keeps getting bigger. You know, the more I try to drill in. Of course, I'm a noob. Jumped online. Of course, jumped on YouTube. Typed in, you know, how to drill holes in masonry, concrete, and you need a hammer drill. So I went down, bought a DeWalt hammer drill, and I got the Atomic because it was small. And that thing, I mean, it's small. Yet all of the power tool companies have their compact and or subcompact line. And for DeWalt, the Atomic, and I know this video is going on, so I'm probably going to cut it here, but I do thank you guys for hanging around. So the Atomic line is DeWalt's compact line of drills. So got it home, and I read the instructions, jumped on YouTube again on how to use a hammer drill. And of course, then I had to run back to the store and buy some masonry drills, a drill bit, masonry drill bit. Got the hose drilled, you have to use masonry screws. Regular wood screw, metal screws won't work, so drilled the hose, measured it out as best I could. Drilled the hose, lined up the hose, got the masonry bits in, and it is in tight. I mean, I sat there and, okay, man, this ain't coming out. Just got it in on the back and the front. So for me, I have nothing against DeWalt. Like I said, DeWalt is the Harley Davidson of tools. Like I said, everyone knows about them. There'll be those, I neither love or hate DeWalt because I don't own it for long enough. Like I said, the drills and tools that I've had before were Ryobi, which is like the cheaper brand. Those aren't, yeah, if you go to Home Depot and you're like, hey man, Mr. Chow, thank you, I'm gonna go down to Home Depot and get me a DeWalt. They are locked up, so you kind of have to navigate around, find a guy and tell him, hey, can you come unlock a power tool for me? And any of them should be able to do it. I think all of the employees are given the combination. And I think the combination, of course, you have to change the combination every now and then because employees are leaving and you hire on new people. Yeah, so you gotta kind of walk around, find a guy, say, oh yeah, sure, no problem. You go over, he puts in the combination, open up the cage. And yeah, and at one time there was no cage for the power tools. And kind of spoke with the guy when he was trying to undo. I was like, hey man, what the heck, Just like one time there was no cage here to, and of course where I live, like I say, it's out in the suburbs, so they didn't really, But of course power tools aren't cheap. They cost you hundreds of dollars. Well actually I would say below 200 is a good price for an at-home DIY power tool. Once you get above 200 into the 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, it's when you get into the pro grade, and I don't need pro grade tool. And of course the right now there's the pneumatic versus the electric impact tools, and I'll probably do a quick video on it too. So I tried just for giggles. It's like, okay, well I see these guys on YouTube using these electric impacts to drive screw bits. So I tried. It's like, whoa, this I was like, hey, this thing really works better than using a drill. So I found out something new. Hey, PSA, a public service announcement. If you're going to be doing any kind of woodwork that's going to be requiring you to drive some screw bits, spend the 100, 150 and go get a electric pneumatic driver. The 1/4 is what I got, and the 1/4 is, I think for home use is more, is the torque wise is way more than enough to drive any. I tried it with 2-inch screws, 3-inch, and it drove it all the way into the wood. Matter of fact, into the wood. It drove the head. It drove the head into the wood. So like, cool, man, because I got some projects coming up here where I'm going to be needing I guess tools to drive. I think I'll smoke it down another 1/2 inch and then call it. Yeah, I would be done with this if I wasn't yakking. it was kind of going out on me, so may have to retouch it. Yeah, it tastes. I still got a lot of. Well, of course, I'm drinking the hot Dr. Pepper too, so I still got a lot of sweetness in my mouth, sugary, smoke. It's kind of just billowing around my face. Of course, it's a nice aroma, but don't want to be breathing in the cigar smoke if you don't have to. Yeah, so recently I purchased the 1/4-inch impact driver, and yeah, that thing drives screws like way better than drills do. So of course, I jumped on YouTube, and a lot of guys are doing the air tool versus the electric. Of course, I have both. And of course, the thing with the battery, the wireless, the cordless, drills is that, of course, it's portable. If you got a backyard project, you don't have to bring out your tank, plug up to some power, drag hose all over your backyard. If you're a mechanic and a garage mechanic, most of them are still using pneumatic, but if you work in like a construction yard, or you work in a heavy construction machinery yard, then yeah, battery would probably be the way to go. And but the biggest plus for pneumatics compared to the battery is that pneumatics don't overheat. You can you can sit there and hammer at whatever nut or bolt you're trying to take off. The drawbacks to the batteries is that they will overheat. So if you're trying to break a bolt or a nut loose, and you're sitting there hammering, it's my suggestion is kind of like the starter on your car. The mechanics recommend to not crank your car for more than 5 seconds. Every 5 seconds, let off, let the starter cool down a little bit, and crank it again. It's basically what's in your drill is like the starter motor on your car. If you sit there and just keep pressing the triggers and keep hammering, it's going to overheat. And if your if your drill does, or your impact wrench or impact hammer doesn't have a built-in computer chip that shuts it down when it senses overheating, then at that point you pretty much screwed up your. You pretty much overheated your drill, and now you're either gonna have to fix it yourself. Take it into a shop, and there are shops that fix drills, and some small engine shops will also fix drills for you. Yeah, I'm pretty much done with this. So if you can afford it, or like in my case, I had air tools, before I decided to go with electric, and I really like the electric impact wrench. I used it on the motorcycle, and it doesn't strip screws, doesn't strip bolts and nuts like if you're trying to take it off by hand. So that's the plus to using electric or a pneumatic. If you want to take out your tank and take out your hose and go at it. Right, well, that's it. Stay safe. Don't get sick. If you do, there's medicine out there. If the vaccine comes out, and if where you work requires you to get a vaccination, I guess you're going to have to. Hopefully, come Tuesday, when Trump announces the Supreme Court nomination, that the leftists don't go nuts and start burning and rioting again, which I have a feeling they will. So if you're in San Francisco, if you're in Oregon, if you're in Seattle, Chicago, name of all of these liberal cities, Atlanta. I guess, if you go to work, just go straight to work, go straight home. you know, it's Sunday, so you should have done your shopping already. And to sit back and, watch things burn, I guess. All right, thank you guys. And again, thank you for sticking around for this long porch talk video. And you have a good one.